Feel.
You sparred with two heavyweights, and you whipped both their asses. Andre, you could make a comeback.
And how am I gonna do that?
With my help? But I can get you a license, and I can get you a fight. If you want to fight.
Of course he wants to fight. It's in his blood.
Gus!
I'm coming out of retirement too, kid.
Told you I'd change his mind.
Jailhouse boxing makes you tough, but it ain't professional. You know that, kid. You're a heavyweight now. Heavyweight is a different world than middleweight. I don't want you to embarrass yourself, so look, we're gonna start with a couple of low-key fights in Mexico. These guys are durable, and they will be coming to fight.
It doesn't matter how good you think you are at previous Fight Night games, or even at the Fight Night Champion demo. Your first act in EA Sports' latest boxing sim is to pick yourself up off the floor after getting knocked down. You're Andre Bishop, and you've just been floored by a heavily tattooed skinhead in front of your fellow prison inmates at the start of the new story-driven Champion mode. You don't have to keep playing Champion mode once that tutorial fight is over if you don't want to. You might prefer to test your skills online or guide a custom fighter through a lengthy career in Legacy mode. Wherever you go, you'll find that Fight Night Champion improves upon last year's Round 4 in mostly minor but meaningful ways. Although it's still easy to throw an unrealistically high number of punches, Fight Night Champion is no mindless slugfest. Blocking, leaning, countering, and conserving your stamina are important, and you're unlikely to succeed unless you master both offensive and defensive moves. Fortunately, there's nothing complicated about any of the controls. Even those of you who have been reluctant to throw your punches using the right analog stick in previous games might want to give it a try this year. That's because where previous games required you to rotate the stick with some precision to throw different punches, here those same straights, overhands, hooks and uppercuts are just mapped to different directions. This elegant system makes it effortless to throw the punches that you want, and when used in conjunction with shoulder button modifiers for body punches and more powerful shots, it affords you easy access to a formidable repertoire.
This Cuban is no amateur. He could have turned pro years ago. He's been the amateur champ for 9 years. 9 years, are you gonna let him make it 10?
You need to use every move at your disposal to succeed in Fight Night Champion, and that's especially true in Champion mode, where story events often force you to adapt your fighting style to different rules and situations. Early on, for example, your fights in prison don't end until only one of you is left standing, while flashback fights at the Amateur World Championship use a point system. And once you turn pro, all manner of obstacles are thrown your way in order to keep the action from becoming repetitive. For example, in one fight you hurt yourself anytime you try to use a broken hand. In the next, you have to knock out your opponent with the same hand to prove to everyone that it's healed. Most of the storytelling is done via well-voiced dialogue and really great-looking cutscenes. An extra flavor during fights comes courtesy of both ESPN's mostly accurate ringside announcers and your own insightful trainer. How long it takes you to play through Champion mode can vary a great deal depending on how quickly you win fights. But if you're playing at an appropriate difficulty level, you can expect to get at least 5 or 6 hours out of Bishop's entertaining story. If you played Fight Night Round 4's Legacy mode, then you already have a good idea of what to expect in Fight Night Champions. Some improvements have been made, but the career structure is largely unchanged, and the training mini-games, though less frustrating than their counterparts in Round 4, still aren't much fun. It's still really satisfying to create a boxer and develop him into a champion though, and if you spend enough time with the boxer creation tools, you should be able to get a reasonably good likeness of yourself in the game. Then, once you're done perfecting your pretty boy, you can tailor his skill set so that his face doesn't become a showpiece for the excellent damage and blood effects. The experience points that you use to level up your skills can be earned both in training mini-games and by completing new fight challenges during bouts. These challenges, which vary from fight to fight, are an excellent addition. They award you bonus points for taking little damage during fights, scoring a knockdown before a specific round, and even for causing cuts. For the most part, the skills that you level up in Fight Night Champion are just different types of punch, and when you spend points on them, you can see that you're improving their speed, power, or accuracy. What makes the Boxer growth screen compelling is that as you level up your skills and they move closer to the level cap of 20, you hit milestones that unlock significant bonuses and even new abilities for your fighter. The action is very believable for the most part, and what's most impressive about the fights is that even without the scripted events that add drama in Champion mode, you're never quite sure how they're going to play out. It can take only one punch to turn a fight around, so you can never get too comfortable and you should never give up. Fight Night Champion's online offering is similar to that in last year's Round 4. You can take part in one-off fights, join an online gym with one of your creative fighters, and even compete in World Championships where there are numerous titles and belts up for grabs. Online fights are smooth for the most part, but lag can be an issue on occasion. The lag is never so bad that it's seriously detrimental to gameplay, but it's unfortunate that lag is present at all, because upon entering a ranked fight you have no choice but to continue playing unless you're okay with adding a loss or a did not finish rating to your profile. Even if online competition doesn't interest you, Fight Night Champion is a great game that has a lot to offer. The story-driven Champion mode is an entertaining addition to the series, and once you get into the Legacy mode you might find that it's hard to put down even after you've spent dozens of hours using the same fighter. And beyond those single-player modes, there's a great deal of fun to be had with friends, recreating memorable matchups and pitting great boxers from different eras against each other in fights that would no doubt have been fascinating in real life. The latest Fight Night might never be remembered as the greatest boxing game of all time, but for right now, it's definitely the champion.